So good morning, everyone, and thanks for attending this free webinar on Oracle Lease Accounting by taking some time out of your busy schedules. And I know most of you are from Tech Leads IT, and we actually invited all the consultants from the market to participate in this webinar. And this webinar is going to be on the lease accounting for the next 1 to 1.5 hour time. You'll be understanding high level flow and high level purpose and functionalities behind the lease accounting on Oracle Fusion applications. And your faculty, Srinivas, I'm going to hand over it to him. And before I hand over to him, I would like to talk about the TechLeads IT for some time. So basically, we are into the industry from the last 12 years, and we are all real-time working professionals and sharing our real-time knowledge with the students. And the curriculum that we are providing to our students is the industry-based curriculum because we are keep on updating our curriculum according to the quarterly upgrade released by Oracle. Not only that, based on the market entry questions, also we are updating our curriculum. And we have a sophisticated learning platform also where users are able to access the daily class recordings and they're able to access the instance access for the practice purpose also from the learning portal itself. Not only that, material access also they're able to access from the learning portal. And in the last quarter, we have released mobile app also to our students. So where they can play the class videos from the mobile app as well. We released both iOS app and Android app as well. So this is what we try to provide the quality training to the students, and so that we are producing a lot of expert Oracle Fusion consultants into the market. We are proud to say most of the consultants are working on Oracle Fusion or completed a training from us into different modules like supply chain and then financials and HCM. A lot of consultants are there who are working on different projects from different companies. We can proudly say that they completed training with us. And these are the other courses that we are offering. So we have these courses. We are into predominantly Oracle space, and then we started our journey into SAP also. SAP side also, we are providing the courses to the students. And in the next year, we'll also come up with a couple of other new courses as well. Okay. So that's it from my side. And I'm handovering to your faculty, Srinivas. Srinivas, you can pick up from here.
Thank you, Krishna, sir.
I'm stopping my screen share.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Can see the PPT, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so let me introduce myself, okay, first, before going to discuss. Okay, I am Srinivas, and total I'm having 16 plus years of experience in Oracle Fusion as well as ERP. And I have worked on implementations, predominantly into implementations. So majority of my life was into implementations. And I have worked on support rollouts, upgrades, including the both application upgrades as well as the database upgrades. Okay, in my experience, I have worked on multiple industries across the globe, like oil and gas, broadcasting, data security, logistics, pharma, healthcare, EPC, engineering, procurement, construction, e-commerce, shipping, government organizations, etc., and mining as well. Okay, so today discussion is related to the lease accounting. So before going into the leases, but a few people already know what is lease accounting. few people actually were trying to understand the basics of lease accounting. So in order to the interest of everyone, I am going to take you the basics of introduction of lease accounting and overview of lease accounting, and I'm going to take you like basics of lease accounting and what are the classifications are available and the advantages and disadvantages of lease accounting and how the process within Oracle Fusion application is just going to take part and how we are going to make the lease payments within Oracle Fusion application, and we are going to see like what are the accounting events gets generated and the basic reports which are helpful on a day-to-day business practice.
Sorry, intervention, Srinivas. My name is Kumar. I would like
Mhm.
to check with you. There will be the IFRS 16 and AC 842 standard is there. Are you going to cover the standard?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Srinivas. Go ahead.
So, okay. So this is the basics of the lease accounting. Okay. So the introduction of your lease accounting. So basically lease accounting is a process where by which the company records your financial impacting of its lease activities. Okay. So, I mean, whenever you're using your either IFRS or your AC 82 standard, so we are going to record the impacts of a lease activities, whatever your lease accounting related activities, whatever you are going to do. So basically, this impact will happen in three different areas. The first one is your balance sheet related items, and second one is your cash flow related items, and third one is your income statement related items. So why balance sheet? Because you are creating a lease which will in turn convert into an asset, which is a right of use, and which is convert into a liability, which is your lease liability, whatever you need to pay to the lessor. So let's see, whoever has been given you the lease to you. Okay. So, and it will in turn impact on your shareholder equity also, because you are going to record your income statement at the end of the year. Your income and expenses over time will be carried forwarded to your retained earnings. And it will also impact your cash flow statements. The reason behind it is like because you are going to make the lease payment related activities. Lease payment will in turn impact your flow of your cash. And income statements, as we have already discussed, like this income statements is related to where the lease expenses, whatever it is going to be incurred, that interest expense of the lease is going to be captured under the expenditure. And if you are giving a lease on a rent, you are the one who is owning the asset, but you are giving that asset to someone as a lease, so which is an income to you. Okay. So the way the lease is ordered for each financial statement differs based on whether you are the lessor, whether you are the one who is you own the asset and receive the payment from the lessee, or the lessee you are paying using the you are paying for the asset whatever used by somebody. So I am the one who is a lessor, and there is a party will be there, and that party is a lessee who wants a machine from me. So I will deliver the machine to him. He will use the machine for his own usage, and upon agreement between me and the party, he is going to make the payment on a regular intervals according to the agreement between these two parties. So here, when I say this leases, major two parties are involved. One is lessor and second one is lessee. So when the when record collect correctly, these three documents provide a clear picture of the value company assets of impact of lease has overall in the financial health. So these are the three areas which is going to get impacted whenever you are going to have any lease recorded in your application. Okay, so why we need this lease accounting? So basically, we are talking about lease accounting. But what is the requirement of lease accounting in order to have it in place? Okay. So basically, lease accounting is going to be covered, depends upon your accounting related impacts. Okay. So whenever you are using IFRS 16 or ASC 842, which is equivalent to your US GAAP. So earlier we used to call it as a US GAAP, and now the naming convention has been changed to ASC 842. Okay, so that is in turn is equivalent to US GAAP. So IFRS is having a certain different process of accounting, and AAC 82 is having a different set of processing of accounting with related to the lease assets. Okay. So since there is a standard requirement is there for IFRS and AAC 842. Okay. So each and every product has come up with their own each and every accounting products like your SAP, your Oracle, and your it can be a Workday or it can be a Tally. So each and every organization has come up with the respective solutions. Okay. So when I say the lease accounting in Oracle, so it's basically lease accounting is a financial application that helps you to create and maintain leases in a single repository. Okay. We have in Oracle Fusion, we can create the leases in two ways. Okay. The first one is your lease created in fixed assets module. And the second one is lease created in lease accounting. So in what cases I'm going to create the leases in fixed assets module, and what cases I'm going to create the lease accounting in lease accounting module. So basically, when the lease accounting is a latest release in the Oracle Fusion module, it was evolving very recently. Earlier, this module is very basic structure has been given. So when the basic structure was available with Oracle, what Oracle did is like Oracle is having a facility to add the leases from your fixed assets module also. But provided there is a limitation for that. So when we go deeper into the session, we are going to talk about the financial lease and operating lease. Whereas this fixed assets module will support only the financial lease. It is not going to support your operating lease related components. So later they have come up with the process called lease accounting. Okay, this lease accounting is a single repository where you can use your both financial leases as well as your operating leases. So into a single repository. And even Oracle suggests you to use the lease accounting rather than using the fixed asset leases, because the facilities and the process implications and the balance matching will be very accurate in lease accounting when we compare with the fixed asset leases. Okay. And we also have the lease accounting covers both the expenses and revenue lease creation. So either I am the party who is taking lease from somebody, or I am the party who is giving lease to somebody. So in case of party whom I am creating the I am getting the lease, I need to make the payment to the my lessor. Okay. So and if I am giving the lease, so I'm going to create an invoice and send it to the party who takes lease from me. So that is nothing but your revenue. And whoever I take from lease from a party, if I take lease for my own use, then it's an expense to me. So which is called it as an expense lease and revenue lease. So, and we are going to create the generation of the payments and revenue schedules and transfer this accounting information seamlessly to the Oracle payables and Oracle receivables, because lease accounting is not having a capability of making a payment or making a collection. So Oracle is already having two different modules for that purpose. So whenever I am going to create any lease accounting related expenses or revenues, in turn, that will be integrated to Oracle payables and Oracle receivables accordingly. The data will get captured in Oracle receivables and Oracle payables that will be either paid or received from the parties. And next thing comes your lease accounting provides the ability to capture the information such as lease details. So what are the information about lease? What is the contract of your lease? Whether you're going to increase your lease contract in future, how you are going to increase your lease contracts, whether it's an it's annually increase or something like biannually increase or an ad hoc increase. And also it will talk you about the assets. What are the assets you are going to create under that specific lease? And what are the payments, what are the payments, how your payments is going to be, and what are the options you are calculation of your accounting schedules. Okay. And creation of milestones. If you are having any milestones, milestone related leases, so how your milestone related leases is going to be captured, and what is your rights and obligations are also available. So what are your rights and what are your obligations? A lease validation process ensures the quality of data before activation. Okay, so it's not something like whatever I give, whatever the junk information I will give you, the system will not take it as it is. Okay, there should be a mechanism where the system will validate for all the information, whether I have done a proper information, whether the dates are falling, whether my lease date and my asset date is falling in the same range, or my payment date and lease date is falling in the same range, and why my payment date and my asset date is falling in the same range, or whether the hike whatever I'm going to increase, so that hike is also falling in the same range of my lease or a payment or an asset. So all these things, internal validation it will do before completing the lease, before completing the lease, activating the lease. So it is going to also ensure the data quality. And there is an amortization engine which will calculate the present values of the leases, because upon the usage, okay, upon the usage, the value will decrease. For example, if I'm using a car, okay, normally most of us will have a car. Okay, if you are owning a car, what will happen? The first year insurance, whatever you are going to pay, the first year insurance is not equivalent to the second year insurance. The reason behind is first year insurance, it is a brand new car. I bought a brand new car. It is a full loaded car. It is full loaded car. Upon 1 year, what will happen? So I have used that car. I have drove for 10,000 kilometers or 15,000 kilometers. There is a wear and tear will happen to that car. So obviously the car cost will get reduced. So this amortization engine also, in turn, what it will do, it will basically calculate the present value by calculating the depreciation for that specific asset. Okay. And the lease accounting also calculates the amortizations of right of use and the lease liability balances according to the requirements of my IFRS 16 and ASC 82. Okay. So what is the basic difference between the IFRS 16? What is a major component in terms of accounting impact where you have this IFRS 16 and ASC 82 is like, when we talk about lease accounting, we are going to have it as an operational lease and financial lease. What is the difference between operational lease and financial lease? In the case of operational lease, what will happen is I am the owner and somebody is taking the lease from me. So now what will happen upon the usage, he will use that for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years accordingly, and he will return the asset back to me. He will return the asset back to me. That is nothing but your operational lease. In case of financial lease, what will happen? So I don't know how many of you know that there is a car company called AVIS. Okay, so which will have a lot of contracts between the different companies. Okay, they will give the car plans. Okay, each many companies will give you the car plans. In this case, what will happen? The AVIS company will purchase a car and give it to you. You drive it for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years accordingly. Then what will happen? And at the end of the lease term, you are going to buy the lease from the Avis company. So this is nothing but a financial lease. In case of financial lease, the party who is taking the lease will be the owner at the end of the lease activities, whether he is going to pay the final lump sum amount according to the lease contract, or so end of the lease contract, the ownership will be automatically transferred. Okay. So these are the financial and operating lease concepts which is available in lease accounting. But ASC 842 will have a distinctive differences between this operating lease and financial lease. Okay. So I have to be I have to create the accounting respective to the ASC 8042 as a separately for operational lease and separately for financial lease. Whereas when it comes to IFRS 16 perspective, it doesn't have any impact on the accounting. Both financial lease and operating lease will be treated in the same way. There is no major difference in the accounting process. But whereas in ASC 82, there is a distinctive impact is there on the financial lease and operating lease. Okay, so the new accounting standards introduced in the past few years have transformed into accounting rules that lessor must follow comply the lease accounting has following feature to help to manage the process lease comply with IFRS 16 and ASC 842. So, or both of these accounting standards and touch-free, seamless manner. In some cases, what will happen? In what cases the both will be used? For example, my company is located in US. Okay, so I have started a business in. There is a big organization in US. So that organization is doing a manufacturing and taking the items on lease, but the corporate office of that specific company is located in Europe. Okay, majority of Europe and Africa and your Middle East will follow IFRS accounting. So whereas your majority, especially majority of your funds will flow towards the world from the Middle East. So let's assume that the corporate office is located in Dubai. So now my operations, according to my regulatory requirements, I have to follow my ASC 842, and to my stakeholders or my corporate needs, I want to represent the same information in IFRS 16. So we have in general ledger, we have a concept called primary ledger and secondary ledger. And we are going to use the primary ledger for ASC 842 and secondary ledger for IFRS 16 related activities. And to improve the planning of single repository for all these obligations, and to generate calculation of balance sheet related items and expenses. Okay, so basics of lease accounting. So I have told you, right? So who is a lessee and who is a lessor? Okay, what is a lease basically? Okay, lessee is the party who obtains the right of use of the leased asset. Okay, essentially the lessee agrees the terms and conditions of the lease agreement and makes the lease payments. So for example, Krishna is a person who is owning an asset. Okay, Srinivas is a person who wants the asset. So now who is a lessee? Srinivas is a lessee because Srinivas is in turn with an agreement with Krishna. Krishna is the owning the asset. So upon the usage of asset by Srinivas is going to make the payment to Krishna. So I am the lessee. Srinivas is the lessee. Who is the lessor? Lessor is our Krishna, who owns the asset, and he will. So lessor is a party who owns the asset and grants the right of use. So right of usage of that asset to the lessee in an exchange for the lease payment over a specified period. Basically, the lessor is the landlord or obtain ownership of the asset, while the lease gains the temporary right of use asset per the lease agreement. That means, so if I am the owner of the asset, temporarily I am transferring the ownership to right of usage ownership to a lessee who is going to use that machine or equipment, and upon the complete of the agreement, the ownership will come back to me. So next thing is, what is the difference between lease and rent? Probably we might have heard, right? So if you are staying in a rented home, we are going to pay rent. Okay, and you might have heard in some of the banners, if you go to any market or any place, probably you might have seen a hoarding saying like this so and so commercial space is for lease. Okay, but some of the house owners also will say that this house is for lease. You might frequently hearing two terms, lease and rent. Okay, lease and rent. So basically rent is nothing but, okay, rent is nothing but I am paying the rent upfront. Okay, something like, let me give you in theoretical, and then I will explain you in practical how it is going to be. Lease, rent, lease and rent both relate to utilizing of the asset. That means if you are staying in home, utilizing the asset, okay, both lease and rent is going to be belongs to the utilization of an asset to the third party, which will generate the returns. However, the leasing is different from renting. They differ from each other respect to the duration, change, rental terms, agreement, and purchase options. Let us see the difference between lease and rent. Rent is a part of leasing. Usually, lease contracts are fixed for a duration. Okay, terminate after the contract term is over. Renting is very commonly used for real estate, whereas leases are more popular in industrial and transportation sectors where heavy machinery or high cost tools are utilized. Okay, so what is a rent and what is a lease basically? Okay, a rent is something like I have a agreement between the owner and me where I am going to pay certain amount of as an advance, and I am going to stay in a specific house, and I am going to pay a regular monthly payments. Okay, whereas lease contains two type of ways I will take the lease. The first way of lease is like I am paying a lump sum amount upfront. That means, for example, my house, my rent, for example, if I take the same space for rent, okay, it is going to cost me 50,000 rupees. So now what I will commit with a landlord is like, I am going to pay you 25 lakhs upfront. Okay. So next 5 years or next 10 years, I'm not going to pay any rent. Okay. I'm not going to pay any rent. After the lease is completed, you need to pay me the 25 lakhs. So I'm going to pay 25 lakhs. I'm going to stay 10 years. And after going out of, after completing the lease, you have to pay me the 25 lakhs. That who is the party? The lessee has to pay, lessor has to pay the 25 lakhs to lessee. Lessee will pay first, lessor will pay later. Okay. So this lessor will use the 25 lakhs in investing in other real estates. So more than if he is getting more revenue than 50,000, then he will agree for 25 lakhs. If he is not going to get that 50,000 or revenue out of any other investment he is going to have using this 25 lakhs, then he is going to go with the monthly payments of a lease. Monthly payments of lease. As it already clearly stated that these type of leasing activities will happen in real estate when you are talking about rent. Okay. Whereas these lease activities are majorly happened with heavy machinery and high cost tools. Like major of the leases we'll see in common world about your generator sets. Okay, so normally you go for it, right? So you go for a generator sets. So those generator sets you go for marriages and all. You are going to use that generator sets and cars, especially cars. Okay, company given cars you are going to take on a lease. Upon the usage, you use how much use you want according to that agreement. You are going to either pay back or buy back the asset. Give back that asset or buy back the asset. Okay, so now what is the accounting classification? Majorly, so I mean, if you say like AS 842 and your IFRS 16, so major accounting terms will be remain same. But whereas when it comes to IFRS 16, additionally there is one more component we'll add. Okay, when it comes under IFRS 16, okay, So as I already mentioned, there is no classification distinction between the operating lease and financial lease, but it is having an impact on the lease tenure. Okay. Whenever you are taking your lease tenure, okay, it is more than 1 year, then it is treated as a long-term lease. If it is equivalent or less than 1 year, then it will be treated as a short-term lease. For example, if you have taken a lease for 5 years, okay, I have taken a car, the car lease is for 5 years. Then how your IFRS 16 will treat it as the last 4th year to 5th year payment, whatever you are going to pay, will be treated as a short-term lease. From 1st year to 4th year, whatever it is going to be, that will be your long-term lease. Okay. Whatever is less than, if my life of the lease is less than 1 year or equal to 1 year, then it will be treated as a short-term lease. If my lease is more than 1 year, 12 months, more than 12 months, then it will be treated as a long-term lease. So this distinctive differentiation is very much needed in IFRS, but this is not required in AAC 842. Okay, so now we talked about leases and which accounting standards we are going to incur, and this is something like the advantages and disadvantages of leasing, basically. The leasing provides several benefits. So asset finance, so leasing allows the company to access the asset without a hefty cost. If I want to buy a car, I need to spend around 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs. Okay. But if I want to go on lease, I hardly pay 50,000. So rather than spending 20 lakhs, if I take the same car on a lease for 50,000, that is beneficial for me. I'm not going to pay the upfront hefty costs. Okay. So especially on the purchase of your plant, machinery, equipments and all. Protection against the obsolescence. At the end of the lease term, the lease equipment can be returned to the lessor and replaced with the newer equipment. Especially, if I can give you an example of Apollo hospitals. Okay, Apollo hospitals, majority of the not only Apollo, majority of the hospitals don't own the equipment. You might be seeing, right, MRIs, or it can be a PET scan related, or it can be a CT scan related equipments, whatever it can be, like X-ray machines, or any robotic surgery machines, whatever used in major hospitals, are not owned by them. There will be a leasing company will be there. That leasing company will give the lease, will give the leases to the respective hospitals. They will use, and for 1 or 2 years or 3 years. And if a new technology comes, they will terminate the lease and they will get the new equipment, whatever it has been comes into the market. Probably you might have seen an advertisements also. First in India, we are going to get some new machine. Okay, so all these things are happening using the leases only. And you are also you're also having a flexi payment terms. Okay, flexible payment terms. The payment schedules is more flexible than traditional loan contracts. Okay, so in loan contracts, what will happen? You have to pay it on every advance. As an advance, you have to pay every month. You have to pay something like that. But whereas in your leases, you also having a flexible payment terms, like you can pay it on a quarterly, half yearly, yearly type of a leases. Also, you can make you can agree to make the payment. And tax benefits. The depreciation is a tax deductible expense. Basically, it's a tax deductible expense which will be recognized by the both lessor and lessee. So it will be advantageous in terms of tax when you are taking the item on lease. And we'll see like what is the major disadvantages of having the lease. One major disadvantage of lease is like agency cost problem. In lease, the lessor will transfer the rights to the lessee for a specific period of time, creating a moral hazard issue because the lessee controls the asset, but he is not the owner of the asset, and the lessee may not exercise the same amount of care on his or her own asset. It means the disadvantages of leases So normally, right? So in families, we used to see a lot of things like whenever you are taking your brother's bike, okay, you drive your brother's bike. So probably you will be having a bike and your brother is having his own bike. Either you take your brother's bike or your brother takes your bike. So obviously what will happen, since the asset is not belongs to you, we will drive it as something like it's not owned by us. Okay. So I will drive carelessly. Okay. Whereas if I am driving my own vehicle, okay, if I hit someone, there might be a damage will happen. Or if I overuses this, some machine parts, equipments will go off. And all these things will be lingering in my mind. So what I am going to do, if it is my own asset, I will do the proper maintenance, care and everything. If it is owned by someone, so I'm not going to take care of that. So there will be a rough usage will be there. And another disadvantage will be something like in the lease accounting, it is, compared to the building and owning the assets, basically what will happen in case of this case is like, you are paying. At the end of the time, you might be paying almost equivalent to the cost of the asset. But your ownership will not be transferred. Even though you are paying 50,000 per month, okay, you are paying for 3 years. You are paying for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years accordingly. So every month you are paying 50,000 for 20 lakhs. You are actually end up in paying 25 lakhs or 30 lakhs for a 20 lakh car. Still, at the end of the lease term, if you are going for an operating lease, you are not the owner. Again, you have to give the car back to the respective lessor. Okay, so this is another major disadvantage. Okay, so now this is the high level pictorial representation of activities which will be done in the Oracle Fusion. Okay, so we have segregated into three parts. The first one is your lease accountant, AP accountant, and GL accountant. Okay, so what is this lease accountant will do? Lease accountant will create the leases, assets, and payment terms. So once create that leases, he is going to create a lease schedule. And once the lease schedule is validated, okay, it is send it for validation, approval, and activation. So if you have any approvals is there, then it will go for your approval and then the activation process will get completed. So once the activation process is completed, then I am going to process the lease schedules. Okay, I'm going to process the lease schedule. So once the lease process schedules is getting created, the nightly process or create accounting process will in turn hit the lease liability and right of use. Lease liability and right of use. Okay, and next component is related to your lease amendments. Okay, whenever I do any amendment to my lease, so I'm going to basically amend the lease. Okay, and then it will in turn will generate a schedules according to the amendment changes, whatever I'm going to do, whether I can increase the scope of the asset or I can increase the decrease the scope of the asset lease contract, or I'm adding any asset to this existing lease. So all these things which in turn will impact on my lease schedules. So which will again will go for a validation approval, and then it will also go for again the processing of lease schedules and change in the new cost and new liability, whatever it is, ROU and liability. And I will run the interest and amortization process, which will create and in turn will generate certain reports. Okay. So this lease accountant at the end of the month, he is going to create the approval of lease payments. So once he will create the lease accounting and lease related payments, so this accounting for lease activity will be done. Okay. So actually there is a small gap here. So this lease payments will in turn will go here and it will automatically create an invoice in accounts payable module. Okay. I'm talking about this expense lease. So same place you will get your AR leases, account receivable also. Here also it will create an invoice in AR and then you will collect the money for the leases, and related the account leases related activities will be done. This is a high level pictorial representation about your lease accounting concepts. So what are the basic things what we are going to do? We are going to define the system options related events and how the numbering of the leases will happen. What are the accounting standards? The amortization and interest calculation, how it is going to happen, and what are the calendars to be used, and what are the accounting classes you are going to use, and you are going to have it a reclassification of your liability, whether it's a long term, short term, will be handled in your system options. The next thing is your accounting class and default accounts, which is going to be having your interest expenses, amortization expenses, or a lease expenses, right of use, or a lease liability reserve accounts, whatever it is going to be handled. And next thing related to it is like a payment templates. So what are the payment templates you need to configure, like for which business unit, for what purpose, whether it's a rent purpose or something, like whether it is an ad hoc basis you are making this. So for what purpose this payment is you are going to do it. Okay, and it's one-time payment or multiple type of payment type you have to specify, and frequency. So monthly, quarterly, yearly, how you are going to do it, and supplier and site to which supplier I'm going to make the payment and which site I'm going to make the payment. So next thing is your discount rate index. So this discount rate index is basically it's something like it's used to capture the discount rates needed for discounting cash flows. So what does it mean? So today's 1 rupee is not equivalent to tomorrow's 1 rupee. Is my statement correct? Okay, is my statement correct? So today's 1 rupee is equivalent to tomorrow's 1 rupee. So there is a discount will happen to tomorrow's 1 rupee, because if I have an asset purchased 1 year back, the same asset, if I want to purchase, the cost will increase. Okay. So the process we will call it as, in some terminologies, in one way we can call it as an also inflation. Okay. So basically the same item, whatever I am going to purchase, it may not be get after 1 year. The same item I may not be getting it with the same 1 rupee 1 year for the same price. So I want to use a certain discount rates. So why this discount rates will be given? Okay, if I own the asset as on today, okay, how much I will spend, and if I lease the asset, how much I will spend. Okay, so at the end of the lease, how much actually in turn I am paying. If I own the asset, how much I am going to pay. So this is what is your accounting standard will say, that if you own the asset, how much you are going to pay. If you lease the asset, how much you are going to pay. You have to report these two to the your statutory authorities. Okay. So next thing is your how your lease processes will happen in Fusion. Okay. So in lease accounting process, basically we are going to create the lease, and we are going to process the lease payments and originate to the funding. We'll book the contract and create financial streams and the related journal entries. And we are going to activate the leases and generate the lease expenses, the amortizations and everything. And in certain cases, like if you're, excuse me. If I'm going to import the data, so data migrations, or if I am also having a legacy system which is owning certain assets or certain leases, I'm going to use this bulk leases, which is going to import from a legacy system to Oracle Fusion application. Okay. So now I will go to the application. Okay. And I will basically show you how it is going to be, how your leases is going to be entered in application. Okay, so probably you might be seeing for the first time. So few people already might have seen the Fusion application, and few people might be seeing for the first time. Okay, So for use a Fusion application, just like your email or some other thing. So here also you are going to get your dedicated username and password. Okay. I think somebody has reset the password. Okay, no worries. I'll quickly change the password and come back. I think probably people have tried multiple times and password is locked. Okay. So I'm logging into the application. I will show how the basic lease creation process will happen. Okay, so this is a place where you are going to create a lease or you are going to amend the lease. Okay. So if you are going to see the existing lease, you need to provide the business unit, you need to provide the information and all the related information, and then you are going to get this data. If I want to create a lease, I will click on add. Okay, so just provide the business unit under which you want to create a lease. Okay, who is the what is the lease type? Whether it is going to be an expense lease type or revenue lease type. So what does it mean? So when it is something having a expense lease type or a revenue lease type, okay, then what will happen if an expense lease type means I am taking a lease. Revenue lease type means I am giving the lease. So which type of lease I am going to do it. So what is my legal entity? So under which legal entity I am creating this lease. Okay, so I'm going to create it under US1 legal entity, or I can go with Supreme also. What is the number of the lease? Okay, so basically this lease number can be automatically created, or you want that lease number to be entered manually according to the agreement given by the lessor or lessee. Okay, so I'm going to say like demo 1, 2, 3. And what is the contract? So what is the contract? On a December 1st onwards, I'm going to create the, or December, what is today's date, or from December 7th onwards, I want to create an asset. So which will in turn will go for up to 2026, December 6th. Okay, up to December 6th, 2026. So next 2 years, I'm going to own the asset. I'm going to take the asset. From who is the party from whom I am taking this asset on lease? Advance cost. Okay, so whether it is a property lease or equipment lease, so I am going to specify. Okay, and whether it is a finance, primary classification is financial lease, or second, it's an operating lease. So I'm going to specify like it's an operating lease, and second, Secondary classification is also operating lease. So why this primary and secondary classifications are needed? Because in AAC 82, AAC 842, sorry, AAC 842, if my primary ledger is IFRS and secondary ledger is AAC 842, then I don't have a privilege. I don't have an option to bifurcate between the financial lease and operating lease. Okay. But using this functionality, I can specify whenever I'm using a secondary accounting classification, which is meant for financial lease for certain type of leases other than IFRS accounting, which is in AAC 842, then I have a different accounting representation. Okay, what is the index rate? What is the index rate? I'm going to use it. So the discount rate or index rate we are going to call. So this is how I'm going to create the lease. Okay, so here you are going to see all this information. So what is your lease and all the related data. So what is your document signed date and what is the description? And if you want to capture any notes, you are going to require any property definition to be done, or is there any payment increase, scope increase, which is going to happen in future years? And when you have signed this contract, all this information you are going to do it. And if you are having any attachments for this specific contract related events, you are going to add that contract related documents here. Okay, so next thing is your assets. Okay, so for every lease we will be having one or more than one asset, but each asset should follow the lease related dates. Okay, which means if my lease is from 7th December 2024 to 6th December 2026, the lease asset, whatever it is going to be created, that should also be fall in the same date range. Okay, that should also fall in the same date range. My asset can be 1st January 2025, but it cannot be a 1st December 2024. It can be 1st January 2025, or 31st December 2025, or 5th October 2026, but it cannot be a December 31st 2026 or December 1st 2024. Sorry. Okay, so it should, the assets whatever I'm going to create should fall in the same range of a asset duration, whatever I have selected. What is the asset number? So I'm going to use this. Location, you can specify the location, whatever it is there. So I'm going to. Okay, some location. So where is the actually this asset is located and all. So I'm taking some location, whatever is relevant. Okay, say save and close. So with this, my asset is created. So here you can say like how many number of units you are going to take, what is the measure, and how it is, if it is a machine or anything, to which employee it has been associated. All this information I'm going to do. If you are having any milestones, okay, you need to define the milestone related activities. You need to define the milestone related activities here. So any specific milestones you want to keep it, that milestones you can keep it here. And next thing is related to payments. So one lease can have multiple assets. One asset can have multiple payments. Okay, so now I am going to see the payment template, whether it is a property lease or equipment lease. I'm going to go with the property lease. And who is the supplier? From whom I have taken Advance Corp. Okay. So here when I'm making the payment, I can give you the start date and end date and the amount, or start date and number of payments and the amount. Okay. I can give you the start date, end date, and the amount, or start date, number of payments, or the amount. Okay, so I'm going to go with the end date. Okay, amount is $450 per month I'm going to pay. So it is a monthly payment or a quarterly payment or a yearly payment. I'm going to say like semi-annually or years thing, or whether it is going to be advance or arrears. That means at the starting of the month, I am going to pay the rent, or ending of the month, I am going to pay the rent. So if you enable the arrears, then it will be end of the month. If you disable it, then it will be starting of the month. Say, save and close. Now what system will do? System will create a payment. System will create a payment like this. Two stub payments it will create. What is the stub? In between the month. In between the month, if your contract starts, system will take the rest of the days of a specific month. Okay, rest of the days of the specific month. And from the next month onwards, it is going to create a 23 payments with each month of 450. And in the month of December, it is going to pay the 20, the rest of 6 days related payment. Okay. So if it is starting of the month, it will be only recurring invoices will get generated. If it is a mid of the month, you might be start seeing the stub related payments. Okay, you don't want this stub related payments to be displayed. Then in the previous screen I mentioned, right? In the previous screen, you have to provide the number of payments. Okay, you want the payment should be displayed like 7th, 12th, 24 to 6, 6, 1, 25. From 7, 1, 25 to again 6 to 25, something like that. If you want to create, then in the previous screen, you have to select the payment, number of payments is there, right? You have to provide the number of payments. In that case, system will create as a single one. So it is according to your requirement. So how it is going to, there is no accounting related impact will be there. It's more or less, it will be same. The end impact will be remain same. And this is your accounting related data where what and all the combinations it is going to be used. And if you are having a milestone related payments, you can specify how the milestone related payments will be created. Once we feel all this information is captured, then we are going to validate. So what this validation process will do, this validation process will basically check check everything, whether everything is intact, or everything I'm going to create is something like is accurate, or all the lease assets are falling in the lease duration, or all the payments are falling in the lease duration, yes or no, all these things system will check. And if there is any deviation, it will not validate, it will show a warning. Okay, so here in the validation, we would start displaying the error, saying like, okay, what is the validation result? Whether it's an error or whether it's a warning, how it is going to be done. Okay, so all this it will show in the validations. So once this is completed, I am going to click on generate schedules. So what this generate schedules will do, this generate schedules will create a amortization summary, and it will also create a payment schedule summary. That means, so if I own this asset, my liability will show it as a 10,219 opening liability. And with the same amount, my right of use also gets created. So I'm going to make the payment of 362.90, which will in turn, using the index rate, system will calculate the interest expense. Okay, system will calculate the interest expense. That index rates related interest expense, this much, and this will be the amortization. This will be the amortization, depreciation related thing. Okay, this minus this will be my amortization. Accordingly, it will calculate month on month. Okay, accordingly, it will calculate month on month. Okay. It is showing both AC 842 and IFRS 16. So now this is the payment related schedules. These are the payment related schedules. So at what time, what date this payment is going to be captured. So once I review this, I will submit for approval. Okay, I will submit for approval. So it will go for an approval. Okay, it will go for an approval, and once it comes. Okay, once it comes, the status of lease will be showed as active. So once the approver approves, the lease will show it as an active. Okay, after active, if you go to the schedules, there is one report which will get activated, Okay, so this report will give you the list of application error occurred. Ideally, it should download it. This Excel, whatever it is there, it will download it. So once you download this activity, then what will happen? You can see the list of components, whatever is available with that specific list. What is your the cost, everything it will see. It will show you all these accrued expenses and payment schedules, whatever it has been created, right? So all these accrued expenses and payment related schedules, it will display in that Excel report. So probably this instance might be having a problem. So let me refresh and try one more time. I think some issue with this application. Normally, in general, it will download. Okay. This is how your lease is created. In the month end, what I'm going to do, I'm going to process the lease expense payments. Okay, so I'll create this lease expense related payments. Metadata lookup. If somebody is doing something, system related problem. So today morning also it was open, probably some background process might be running. So here is the place where we are going to create both the amortization as well as the payment schedule. So once we run this process related to it, process lease payments, then what the system is going to do, system is going to create the amortization process, and system is going to do the related the lease payments. I can show you the existing assets, whatever it has been created earlier. So probably we can take this asset which is active. So it is active from 1/1/23. If you go to the schedules, okay, so you can see there is an amortization started on July and August. So let me try whether I can able to download this. No, here also it is not happening. Okay, probably some index programs might be running in the background that is causing the issue in the demo instance. And see here, if you come and see here, so in total they have created like 12 payments. Okay, but if you see here, the system started created that lease payment is completed, and you can also see the invoice number, whatever it gets generated in the accounts payable. If you want to know what is the invoice number, you can click here the invoice, and you can see what is the invoice number which got created against that specific leases. And this lease payments this lease invoice, whatever is getting created, that will be paid to the party. Okay. So this is how the process works, and it will automatically generate an invoice, and it will send it to pay. It will transfer the payment to payables, and from there we make the payment. Okay. So this is all related to the payments which I have already shown, and the final is a bread and butter of finance, guys, which is accounting. Okay, so how the accounting is getting created for leases. Okay, so when lease is created, so these are the multiple areas where you are going to have the accounting impact. So when your lease is created, ROU is nothing but right of use. Right of use to lease liability is getting hit. When you are going to create the lease expenses on a periodic basis, your amortization will get debit, and your accumulated depreciation will get credit, and your lease liability to the interest of expenses, whatever it is there, that will hit. And when you process the lease reclassification from the short-term to long-term liability, so it is going to be a lease liability. Whatever gets created here will convert into a short-term and long-term liability with a credit entries, and whatever created here will get reversed. Okay. So the next thing is your payment approval. When your payment is going to be created, your long-term or short-term liability is going to hit with the payables clearing account. And when you are having a scope increase or a decrease is happening, so increase means that I'm going to increase the life of the lease. Okay, so currently I'm having for 2 years. I'm going to increase it for 3 years. So if I'm going to increase it for 3 years, then what will be the case for it? Okay, that is going to be entered here. So scope decrease means I'm reducing the scope from 2 years. I'm reducing it to 1 year. So any revision activities I'm going to do. Okay, any revision activities I'm going to do, then the lease account debit or credit will happen. So revisions, increase revisions or decrease revisions, accordingly the debit and credit will change. And we have the payment increase lease revision and payment decrease lease revision. So accordingly the system will create it. And if you are terminating the lease, okay, so you didn't I mean, you are not happy with the contract, so now you want to terminate. What will be the termination process which is going to happen here? So these are the basic accounting events which is going to hit, and this is the basic lease liability report which is going to show. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be the lease liability report. Okay, so what it talks is like how your lease is going to be happen, and if you're having a non-discounted liability, discounted liability, and year wise less than 1 year, how much amount is there, more than 1 year, how much amount is there, and it is also analysis if you are doing any analysis. Okay, so what are the lease related analysis is there? Payment to be with compliance, and payment with compliance disabled, and payment with compliance enabled. So with a discounted liability and non-discounted liability. So how it is going to be entered. And finally, this is your lease transaction and balances report. Okay. So it will display the lease, what is your lease amounts and what is the right of use. This is a very beautiful report which will provide you the opening balance, closing balance, is there any additions, and all these related information. System itself will take care about it. And if you want to look by payment wise, so the system will give you the payment wise summary with the item and how much payment you are doing and what is the liability account, and when your accounting is completed within the current month or your accounting is not completed, is there any future accountings you are going to do, all these activities which will be handled here. When you talk about the accounting, when you talk about the reporting perspective, so majority of your reporting requirements are handled within your Oracle Fusion standard reports itself. You no need to customize it. Majority of the reports are supports the your day-to-day needs of each and every customer. Okay, very rarely you might require a custom reports to be developed. So with this, I conclude the lease accounting basics and how it is going to be, how we are going to create the lease accounting and how the payment process will happen and your lease accounting related activities. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can basically provide your Q&A, sorry, you can ask your questions.
Yes, Srinivas, one question. Like the automatic invoice is created, right? So for that, you have run any program to create the invoice, or it's like in Fusion, it's automatically creating the invoice?
No, sir. Actually, what will happen in Fusion is, I showed you, right? So this there is some lookup related problem is or some background process is running. So this process expense lease payments. So it will have an option to transfer the data. It will ask you whether the data to be transferred to uh, uh, payables or not transferred to payables. If you send it to transfer to payables, then what will happen? The data will transfer to payables. Okay. But what will happen once the data is transferred to payables, then it will not show this information. Okay, if you go to this expenditures, right? So it will just simply create the information, and this information, this invoice number, line number, and amount and all will not be visible here. Again, from payables, once it is created and validated, okay, so that invoice information again will bring back to Oracle lease accounting. There is a tieback process is there. Okay, what this tieback process will do? Tieback process will compare the lease payments versus the lease payment invoices created in Oracle payments, payable systems. That it will come back and brought it back to your invoice, and it will attach that invoice related information here. So there is a two activities. One, it will create
So normally in Oracle application, not I'm talking about not Fusion. It's normally in Oracle application. You have to run the certain programs to transfer the data from lease to like APR lease to AR. So here there is no concept of running the program. So how let us assume currently I am in December. I want to generate the invoice for January. Okay, so how do you do that?
You are currently in the month of December. You create an invoice of January.
I want to create invoice of January. So
why,
how you create that?
What is the business requirement? Why you create
like I want to create advance invoice
see, why you want to create an advance invoice? See, basically,
like I want to send a I want to create an invoice so that like the due date will be in the month of January only. So, but I want to generate the invoice today, and I want to send that invoice related copy to the customer. Okay, so like the due date will be, let us say it's mid like 10th of Jan. But upfront I am creating that invoice. I'm sending that invoice to customer so that he can pay at the Jan 10th.
Okay, so you are you saying like you will? I mean, in that case, you can open your January period in your leases, and you can run your process for January. It will in turn will create an invoice in your January period. But that invoice, whatever you are going to create in January, you also have to open the period of January in your tables also.
Okay, got it. Okay, so last question here. Like we won't have any product related concept in Fusion. The product is associated to the accounting template and HGT, right? So here we won't have any concept in Fusion.
What do you mean by product?
Where exactly? Yeah. So okay. So let me ask question like this. So like for the accounting in these, you have certain accounting templates, right? It will tell you it will tell you which account it has to hit and what are the
It will be
accountings it has
payment template.
generated.
The payment
Yeah.
template. Payment template will derive you all these things. Payment will template will give you all the accounting needs for your lease accounting.
Okay, if I have multiple operating units, then in that case, like I have to define multiple payment plans, right?
Within single operating unit also for multiple type of equipments, you have to have a multiple type of payment templates, right? One will go with a quarterly, one will go with monthly. You cannot have both same. Okay, so each equipment, each type of asset you are going to, the accounting will differ between the way how you are going to create a lease. So within single BU or across BUs, you have to create multiple payment templates. Yes, upload facility is there. We don't need to create manually. There is an upload facility is there, which is very quicker in nature. You can simply provide that Excel. It will automatically create that payment template. It's very easy process. No manual intention, no labor intensive job. It is very easy to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Good morning, Srini.
Yeah.
Srini, one small question. See, for example, I have taken, I'm a lessee and I have taken a property from the one who is giving leave, and I'm renting it out. Okay, how this will be covered in accounting part? Because I'm paying rent to
Okay,
my
you're
and I'm renting it out, and maybe partially I'm renting it out.
Yeah, basically an intermediary person. You are taking lease from someone, and you are paying lease to, you are giving lease to someone. Yeah, within single lease itself, you can do that, sir.
Like, how will capture this accounting parts? Is it possible in this?
So basically, what will happen in this case? Okay, when you are having an agreement between your when you are procuring when you're taking any item from a specific party, then what you do, you will have an agreement between the party and you create a lease, correct?
Yes.
So there will be a lease terms and agreements will be created there. You create it as a separate expense lease because you need to make the payment to the party. But when you are giving the same asset to someone, so there is a new agreement between you and the person who is taking lease from you. So
that say there will not be any link actually, any link between the one for expenses and revenue, because the second part is revenue to me, right?
Correct.
The first one is expenses, so we will not have any link.
Why you
can we link it?
What link you are expecting basically? Because
no, a bit,
parties are two different parties. Asset link will be there. Asset link will be there. But lease asset whatever
accounting level, I'll not have it at any how much what is the amount I have spent and what amount I earned from that. Will not have any in accounting, but is it possible to capture?
That level of reporting is not available, sir. If you are doing both revenue leases and expense leases on the same asset, that type of accounting, that type of reporting is not available. Where you have to create a single report by you have to create a custom report by providing all this information. Like
but accounting options, it's possible, right? In accounting level, I can able to link it.
100%.
Okay. And one more, actually, you were explaining one scenario, right? That I'll be paying the amount in bulk and I'll not pay rent. After my lease agreement got over, I'll take the full amount. How to capture these things in accounting?
So there is in lease payments, we have a one-time payment concept is there, sir. So I have provided multiple amounts right here while providing month on month. So there we have a concept called one-time payment. With that one-time payment, you can pay the lump sum amount.
But at the end of the an agreement, you're getting that amount back, right? So these things. So
here also, if you are making the lump sum amount also, what you are doing, you are going to create that lump sum amount via payables module. Sorry. Okay, you create it, it will go to payables, and payables will complete it. Once the tenure is completed for this specific asset, what you do the termination process. Okay, because the lease is completed. So you are terminating the lease. When the termination process is completed, then the same information will go back to your payables as a credit memo.
Okay.
So then customer will pay you back. The refund will come, and you will receive again as that adjustment, and it will tie back to your lease.
Is it automated or we need to do any manual process?
Termination is an automatic process. Creation is automatic process, but collection you have to do it manually because
Credit memo.
third
Okay.
party is making the payment, right? So third party is paying, so that adjustment has to be done manually. That's just like your normal payment, how you are doing. The collection also you have to do it in similar way.
Okay, Srini. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi Srinivas, this is Kumar from. Hi
Yes, sir.
Srinivas,
Yes, sir.
my name is Kumar. I would like to check with you one point. When you, I think we are getting a lease.
Mhm.
We need to pay. We need to make a payment to the supplier. The
Okay.
supplier will give the bill to us.
Okay.
That bill is because, as per my knowledge, is it possible to incorporate lease accounting module, the particular invoice, as per the standard functionality? Is there any source?
See, now what will happen in the current case,
One,
current
one
situation.
minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. The lease number is when the lease has been transferred to payable module, system automatically creating a one lease number.
Correct. That is editable, sir. You can go and enter your supplier related number, whatever your supplier provides, right? A lease supplier provides the invoice number that you can add it there.
Yeah, I'm agree with you, but what I'm expecting is that is it possible to incorporate a lease module to transmit to payables module? Because in India there will be GST is the customer will submit the GST invoice number. We would like to we are taking the input credit all these things.
Correct.
But unfortunately there is no integration between the lease accounting module with the payables for the invoice number integration.
Invoice number integration.
If there is any there is at the time of lease invoice number creation time, when I'm creating a lease creation time, every month there is one invoice number will, as per my lease will be 24 months lease is there.
Correct.
Every month one invoice will be created from the particular supplier. Okay. Normally,
Correct.
my program is validation program automatically scheduled. Everything is scheduled. Once a lease creation program has been triggered from the lease accounting module, it will be creating a lease. But
Correct.
the once invoice is validated, accounted, it's not.
No. That's what I'm saying, sir. That's what I'm saying. Invoice will not directly validate, right? It will come in the incomplete status.
No.
Because
We are scheduled with invoice validation program.
okay, you have scheduled invoice validation program. So invoice
Because
validation program also you have an option, right? From which source you can validate. You don't validate this.
we are having a multiple more than 200 or 150 leases is there. Every time it is not possible to go changing the invoice number. The user is not accepting.
Why it will not happen, sir? You cannot create an supplier invoice, right? So you cannot assume that, see, unless until you can't enter the supplier invoice number, that will not become a valid invoice at all.
That is a problem. That is because if you now when coming to the P2P cycle, ERS invoice will be there. The ERS invoice number it will be manually entered by the ERS level. That we have the one program custom program will changing the invoice number. So same functionality I'm expecting from the lease accounting. Is there a workaround for this one? Accept
It,
manual thing. Accept
it is
manual.
possible, sir. Probably you can write some kind of
ERS.
API or something to update in the interface. So you can provide certain information about that, and you can update in the interface before importing that. You can call that API and update your invoice number and import that.
Okay. And one more question. There is a prepayment concept is there.
1 second. Sorry, Kumar. Sorry for interrupting. Srinivas, you are done from your side. It's a
Yes, sir.
Q&A.
Yes, Q&A, sir.
Okay, but still you are showing the application, so I got confused.
Okay.
Yeah, if it is a Q&A session, just put a Q&A slide on the PPT. Share your slide, yeah.
Shall I ask Krishna, or it will be session we are going to close?
1 second, Kumar, 1 second.
Hello?
Kumar, 1 second, 1 second. I'll update you. Just give me a second. Srinivas, when the session completed? I mean, the explanation from your side.
Yeah, it's just a few minutes back. That's it.
Okay. And Kumar, I think I've seen your chat also. You have a few more questions. I will stay back and clarify you. Okay. I would like to give a chance to the others also. Kindly wait, Kumar. Okay. You have asked some more things also. We are happy to help you. Any more questions from others, team?
Yeah, hi, Srinivas and Krishna. Like how to track these lease assets in assets model? So how you transfer them to assets?
Independent, sir. So
Independent.
there's no link between lease accounting related assets versus your fixed assets.
Okay, so in fixed assets model, we nowhere maintain.
Nowhere it will link.
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Srinivas, sir. I am Srinath. I have a doubt like in this lease accounting, whether it will be covered under that Oracle Fusion Finance course.
It will be a separate topic, sir, altogether. It is not, normally it doesn't comes under finance. Okay.
Okay.
So not as a common finance. I cannot say it as a finance, not as a common finance process. So it is an additional thing, basically. You have to take an additional license for even for that product, and it has to be a separate process altogether.
Oh, so this will not be covered in that module, no? Like FA, APAR. This is a separate module, like.
Separate module.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any more questions from others?
So I have one question myself. Is Nilesh,
Go
are
ahead.
you going to show some SLA event for this lease account and some basic payable setup or receivable setup in this course, which is the prerequisites for the lease accounting?
Sir, we
Yes.
are not starting any course, sir. Basically, this is a webinar, sir. Okay, free webinar to give you overall understanding on the lease accounting, sir. This is not a course, actually.
Okay, sorry.
You are interested for lease accounting course?
Yeah, that's the reason I asked the question.
Okay. It's we don't have a, I mean, as of now, we don't have intention to start any batch for this. We'll see, sir. Okay, I'll talk to the faculty offline and then we'll come to you with the
Okay.
proper course curriculum and agenda. Okay, that's the reason
Okay.
we did not discuss any course curriculum also during our presentation. Timings and cost that we did not discuss, because our intention is to share you the knowledge on the lease accounting overall high level overview.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Sir.
Srinivas, one question. Can we change the lease start date for any lease asset?
Yes, you can start it, but provided the only condition is like your lease and your asset should be in sync.
Okay, there is a requirement from user, so need to change the start date. But
My
we
bad.
are unable to start the we are unable to change the start date.
Yeah, I'll take back my words. Sorry, my bad. You can extend the lease, but start date cannot be changed. Start date cannot be changed. Your lease start date, you cannot take it as a backdated. Once your lease is activated, you cannot change your start date. You can only, what you can do, you can change your lease end date. Either you can brought it forward or brought it backward, but not the start date. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Srinivas, if you see on the chat, Sajid has updated something like at the time of lease activation, asset will be created in FA. But you are saying there is no connection between lease assets and asset.
What do you mean by, sir? Sorry, I lost you.
So my previous question was like when we create a lease asset in a leasing module, does it flow to assets or not?
No, it will not flow.
On the chat, if you see, Sajid has mentioned something. At the time of lease activation, asset will be created in FA. So it's a bit confusing.
Where in chat?
On the Zoom chat, if you see, last message from Sajid.
Somehow I could not able to say. I
Even I'm
see.
not able to see that.
Yeah, was I think it is showing as last slide was slide 16 covered. From the
If you see,
our
if you
course
go to
curriculum.
chat, if you go to chat on not on your PPT, go to chat.
Chat only I'm seeing, sir. I'm reading on the chat only. So Arun, to everyone, what are the prerequisites for this course?
Yeah, even in fact, I see that the last one.
After that,
there is stages, which is covered as something like a slide 16 covered. That's it.
got it, got it. It seems Sajid just messaged only to me, not to.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So at the time of lease activation, does asset get created in FA model or not?
No, definitely it will not create.
Definitely it will not.
It will not at all touch your fixed assets module. Fixed assets module is meant for your own assets, not for lease assets. When you are owning any asset, so for that purpose only you are using that fixed assets, and especially for financial leases. That's why I clearly mentioned in the starting of the session, when you are using any financial lease or your this thing, then only you are going to create your lease related assets in fixed assets module. After lease accounting has been introduced, even Oracle suggests you to use the lease accounting rather than your fixed assets. There is no link.
So hi Srinivas. So there may be a scenario, right, where say there is one asset, right? So
Okay.
initially we use it as a personal asset, like if it is a high value asset, and then when towards the maybe mid of life cycle, we plan it to lease it out to other companies, right? So in that case, it has to move from fixed asset to lease asset, right?
You have to move out to fixed assets to lease accounting, or what you can do, you can carry forward this, because when you are doing your lease accounting, you receive only payment. You cannot create amortizations there. Okay, your amortization you will do it here, or you can take out it totally from this place, and you can keep it in the lease accounting. So whatever it is, whatever it is feasible for you. So we have
Okay,
to
so we'll have to move it from fixed asset to lease accounting.
we have to, move it from fixed assets to lease accounting.
So the transfer is possible in that case, correct?
Transfer is manual transfer. It is no systematic transfer is not there till now. Probably it might release in future, but till now, systematic process is not there. From fixed assets module to directly to lease accounting, it will not transfer.
So manual transfer as in like manually we have to update the records in
Update the
leasing.
record manually.
Okay, okay.
So if your intention is to create that assets normally, then something like your company is a lease company, then only lease assets will be created under that. Your fixed assets will be created under fixed assets module. So if you are having such type of requirements, then it's a ad hoc basis. You can transfer those assets.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
So that means I can create a separate book for lease assets, and I can transfer them from my lease asset book to lease model.
No book creation, nothing needed for leases.
Okay.
So lease will not take the same concepts of fixed assets. Okay, lease purpose is meant only for the accounting standards. How your accounting standards, how you are going to get a revenue or how you are going to get an expense out of your leases.
Okay.
So lease does not need any asset books or categories or this, that is not required. So we have only two ways of differentiating. One is property, and another one is equipment. Property means any buildings or real estates or land and all comes under property, and anything else, machine and equipment, software licenses and all comes under equipment. That is the only two things. Are expenses is also there, but I mean, to be frank, I have never used the expenses anywhere in leases, especially a kind of expense leases kind of a thing. I have never used, but there is another option. Expenses is also there. Anything else? From anyone?
I think most of them done with their questions. We can start with replying Kumar.
Yeah, Kumar's.
Kumar, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I think only one, there is a prepayment concept is there.
Yeah.
Normally prepayment we are creating in the payables module. What are the, as per the lease agreement, there will be an initial lease agreement. We need to give a 25% amount, a lump sum amount we need to give them. But
Correct.
unfortunately, the tracking from the payables module is there. From the business requirement, they would like to initiate from the lease accounting module. The invoice should be created, prepayment invoice should be created in the payables module. There is no synchronization is not there. So what is happening though, there is will be a, we are issuing a 100 or 150 leases is there. They
Okay.
want to, they are tracking with manually only.
You mean to say why they are tracking it manually? See, because you want a advance payment to be paid to the party, yeah?
Advance payment, yes, correct. Against there is a lease number is there. The lease
Okay.
number against how we need to make a payment, advance prepayment payment.
So basically, when you are making when you are taking a lease, it cannot be considered as an advance, right? So it will be considered as a payment only, one-time payment.
No, it's not a payment. That as per the terms and condition, okay.
Okay.
The lease terms and condition, they want to refund the lease at the time of completion of the lease, or
Correct.
that will be adjustable last lease payment.
That will be adjusted against the last lease payment. Okay. So just like your rent, okay, when you are going for a rent, you will pay an advance amount. You
Yes,
are going to
yes.
adjust it against the last leases. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a concern I'm saying.
That is, if that is the concern, then I think we don't have a mechanism to create a prepayment directly through using leases. We don't have a direct tracking mechanism is available. So in turn, what you do, but even if you do that intern activity, that will only implies to the last payment of the lease. I mean, if you want to create any previous payments and all, it will not happen. For example, like if you're terminating, you can pay it as a upfront amount as 1 lakh or 2 lakhs as a single invoice. Okay, when the payment will go, when you are when you are completing the tenure of the lease, right? When you're terminating the lease, what will happen? It will in turn create a credit note. But the credit application will happen only to the last month invoice. You cannot apply to the previous month, right? Probably you might have been paid. So that option is there, but specifically to prepayment, it is we don't have a mechanism.
We are following the practice.
Yeah, okay, it should be the outside the system.
Okay, and one more thing is that there will be, as per the finance leases, there will be a purchase option is there. Okay.
Correct.
The purchase option level, when you are purchasing at the time of, there is a mutual understanding between lessor and lessee concept. Okay, we taken a lease basis on the 10 lakhs rupees of one machinery we taken. At the time of, as per the golden rules of the lease concept, there is the 5 rules is there. Purchase option, lease should be not be transferred. Some condition is as per AC 840 standard.
Okay.
So if in case lessee want to purchase the asset, okay, in situation, what will be the accounting impact in the account? What will be the accounting impact? Because it will be transferring, it will be showing in the balance sheet right of use asset. Okay, what are the lease payment? Everything is done before the as per the agreement terms and condition. If you want, lessee want to purchase the give the prior communication, that will happen. Okay.
Correct.
Then after that, 1 month or 3 months before, there will be valuation will be there on discount rate concept. not on
Correct.
the. There will
Correct.
be fair
Correct.
value. Some mechanism is there. In situation, okay, write off use asset. How the calculation will happen, because we are trying to incorporate the application. We tried a lot for calculation, all these calculation purpose.
I think you're asking all your project scenarios, Kumar.
No. It is not. It is not a project. It's a
Uh-huh.
it is not my project. I'm saying that the project is that this is my last question. I'm not any further question, because I'm saying that.
No,
This is the
you
last
can
question.
ask, but some of the requirements, solutioning sometimes it take time, right, Kumar?
Yeah,
So that's
I'm definitely
Yeah.
Krishna. I'm agree with you. I'm
Mhm.
saying that this is my intention. This is my last question. I have a couple of questions is there, but I'm not asking. Only these are the major for me.
Okay.
No. What I'm saying, what our director's question is like. So I mean, you are facing some problem, yes. So we do agree. But that kind of the same scenario we should also receive. That's what our intention is like. So if you're asking a
That-
question, I may not be able to answer it upfront because I have not faced this issue. To be frank, like whatever you are saying, like AAC 82, that I have never faced in my issue. That's what like. See, he's saying like it will take time for us to review, okay, and come back with you.
definitely.
Yeah, that's what.
Definitely, Srinivas. Now everybody knows, everybody don't know all the activities, all the things, but my intention, at least one, this is a very big form. There is I think more than 34 people is there. Anyone can answer. That is my intention.
Yeah. Got it.
No, all of
Thank
them
you.
are left. The people who are attending, maybe they're not having a knowledge on lease accounting. Yeah, only 14 members
It
are
was
there
a,
right
it
now.
was a great it was a great session, Srinivas. I think going forward, lease accounting model, and it will rock definitely.
Yeah, basically, still a lot of enhancement has to be done, sir. See, when I started working on lease accounting, we don't even have the short-term, long-term bifurcation. Okay, so now there was a lots and lots of improvements, taxation in the leases, everything started. Earlier, we can't even calculate tax. So we have
Yes,
to.
I'm agree.
And again, we have to
Yes.
bring back to payables and use the creation logics to build that, and blah 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 has to be done. But here in now recent days, they have started increasing all this. Earlier, I mentioned right the first representation, second representation of financial and this thing. We used to have it for AAC 842 to IFRS, but we don't have a Volta scenario like IFRS to AAC 842. We don't have a mechanism that is also introduced. That is also recently introduced in a couple of patches back.
Okay.
So we are hoping. So a lot of improvisations will happen in at least for next 5 to 6 quarters.
Thank you, Srinivas, and thank you, Krishna.
Any other doubts? Any other questions?
Yeah, I think thanks, Srinivas, for the session and giving the overview and insights on the lease accounting. Thank you all
Thank you all.
for joining the session. Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you all.
Yeah, we can close for today. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we are closing. Have a great day and enjoy your day. See you next time whenever we have a new topic.